The following podcast has been rated PGN. Parental guidance is neglected.
Boy, it's been a long time since we've had a little father-son chat.
I am your father.
Father, if you can hear me, I failed.
Don't let your mother smell that beer on your breath. She'll take it out on me.
I'm here with my dad.
I know what you're gonna say, son. And you're right. You're right.
Who is your daddy and what does he do?
I've abandoned my boy!
Hey guys, welcome back to Parental Guidance Neglected. I am Jackson Burns. That's Regan Burns. He's my dad. I'm his son. And we're talking about movies.
Is that
We're
real?
talking about movies.
Is that what we're going to talk about today? Or are we even going to...
I think we're talking about a lot of movies.
Or are we,
that's my prediction.
Are we even going to talk? Maybe one of us is going to talk.
Yeah. So my dad's currently a little underneath the weather. That's why we had to not record last week. That's why we're a little backed up. But I might be doing a little bit of talking, a little more talking than I usually am doing today because
my apologies. My apologies.
A dying frog.
My apologies for all those who can't handle Jackson that much. By the way, look at my eyes. God, I look like shit. I mean, I know I sound
look, I wasn't going to say it, but I mean...
Yeah, my eyes are really red. So, disclaimer right off the top of the show. I'm still coming off of, or still fighting not COVID. Had a little COVID scare this week, but after multiple... tests and then the what's it called, Jackson? The one where you go in the PCR, the PVR, the PCR test, everything negative. Turns out I got like a really bad thing of bronchitis and lost my voice last weekend. So our apologies. That's why. Listen, when we skip a week, Jackson, I think it's safe to say that no one hurts more than me and you, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, I know the
I agree. I'm back.
The audience is in pain, but we're really in pain because we need to be here. This is our therapy more than anything.
We need this.
More
yeah, this is our version of like family therapy.
Yeah. So trust me, if we I was in Dallas last week doing a race, and then I got sick and lost my voice, and as bad as it sounds today, if we had tried to do a podcast last weekend. I don't even think I could have talked, and if so,
yeah, literally just barely getting squeaks out.
Yeah, I was. Jackson loved a week of peace in the house. So right off the top, my apologies. I'm going to do my best not to cough, to keep talking as much as I can. You might hear a little this. That's a little lozenge.
Oh wow, let's not do that ever again.
No,
that was pretty.
The old.
Yeah, that's a rough sound. I'm not gonna lie.
The cough drop
not
moving.
Loving that one.
Yeah, so I'm gonna do as little of that as I can, but there might be a little bit of water breaks and coughs here and there on the PGM podcast. But I'm still not 100%, but I'm trying to fight back. Jackson, you didn't get sick. I didn't get you sick this week. I didn't get anyone else in the house sick. And I haven't really avoided you all.
Yeah.
In fact, if anything, I've been touching you more this week.
I know. I think it's just that I'm like just stronger than you in most aspects.
I'm not gonna
both mentally and physically. So it's just like
I'm not gonna argue with that. I'm not gonna argue with that. You are. If I had a voice, I might argue with it. But today,
I feel like I'm in a good position to be talking a little crap today.
I'm not going to. So we had 2 weeks off. We've obviously seen. Oh, are you gonna sneeze? Did you sneeze? It looked like you sneezed there, or did you hold?
No, I had a hair in my mouth.
You had a hair in your mouth? Okay.
I had a hair in my mouth.
So just to be clear here, you can talk about
no.
hairs in your mouth. That's okay. But if I make this noise, that's too much.
That is like exponentially worse.
But you could be spitting out hairs from your mouth, God knows where from. That's great. That's great, son of mine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wonderful on that. We had a couple weeks off. We did cram a lot of movies in there. We're going to get to all of them in a second. Besides that, Jackson, how's things going with you? We were out. You and I were out.
Things are going good.
You and I were out yesterday all day doing what?
Car hunting. Oh. Getting a new car.
What a nightmare, right?
Yeah, wow. Shopping for cars is not fun.
Yeah,
I've come to
my
find.
son went out for the first time. We did some preliminary car hunting. We probably have more to do maybe tomorrow or Tuesday, depending on schedule.
Yeah.
Trying to narrow down what we're going to get him, and he's got a car right now, but it's getting older, and that's probably getting handed down to his sister, who's getting ready to be licensed. Oh my God, how are we feeling about that? How are we feeling about your sister on the road?
It's happening. You know, it's inevitable at this point.
Yeah,
so
she's in the house.
Whatever happens, happens.
She's in the house. She doesn't listen to this podcast, so we can say whatever we want here.
Oh my gosh, we can say anything.
Oh my God, the girl is so messed up with boys and I don't know, dancing and whatever the hell.
Listen, I'm ready to go back to school at this point. It's like
too much of your sister, too much of me.
Ugh, way too. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. That was a bit.
Yeah. How are things at the theater? Your job, your summer
theater?
job. Yeah.
They're fine.
Yeah.
You
kind of clued me in this morning. You had kind of a rough one last night. Elaborate, please.
Well, it was to give context. It was after like being out pretty much for a full day looking at cars.
Right. So you're tired.
So I went straight from there to work, and then I worked from 5 to 11. Which usually I'm actually working later than that, so it wasn't so bad. Work wise, but this is just I don't know, something about the black phone and Elvis had people not happy being at the theater because everyone was just not being nice.
Yeah.
To little Jackson at the register.
Let me explain kind of a bigger thing, Jackson. How old are you now? Because I don't know. I'm
19.
Okay. Yeah.
Almost 20.
I would have guessed 24 or
that's close. That's close.
Yeah,
enough.
I don't really follow your age that much. It's not that important anymore. Let me explain something to you, though, now that you're getting up there. Every year that you get older, you are going to grow to hate people more. Okay?
Okay.
You're just going to. Every year of your life, the curtain has been pulled back, and every year, you're just going to wake up and go, I have less respect for humankind than I did this time last year. So that by the time you get to my age, that's why you understand. Now you're just getting a glimpse of why people eventually become get off my lawn. Because at some point you hate everyone.
But then it's like a full circle because you deal with people, you hate being around people, right. You become the get off my lawn guy, and then you're the asshole to the worker
or
again.
You do a complete 360 and you learn to hate people, and then at some point you get so old that you've hated everyone that you realize there's nobody you like, so you end up giving out samples in Costco hoping to find some people that you do like again. Then you're almost begging people, like, please try my spring roll or my gravy dipped bread because I need to find somebody because I've hated everyone.
This is so... Yeah, wow.
Like, do you think that's what happens? That if you live long enough, you end up hating everyone and then realize I'm alone, and that's where you end up being a greeter at Walmart and go, I got to find some people I like. And then you get all sunny, you know, those cheerful old people where you're like, damn, they're really excited about handing out the mini pizza rolls. I don't know.
I feel like we're getting really philosophical.
Yeah, but...
And it's 10 in the morning. And I don't feel like I'm.
You're not.
I think I lost you. Some point in there.
Yeah, but listen, man. What if? Yeah, I guess.
No, listen. It's just not. Nothing matters.
Yeah, I know. It's the PGN podcast. Parental guidance is neglected on this podcast. That means he's on his own. 2 generations giving opinions. I don't know, man. You want to let's jump in with one of the hot ones. Let's because people are.
Let's get right into it.
Let's get right into probably the biggest film opening this weekend. We did see this as a family the other night.
We did. Okay. We're starting with
Okay. Directed by Mr. Baz Luhrmann, who also, of course, did Moulin Rouge and
Romeo and Juliet.
Romeo and Juliet with DiCaprio and
the bad one.
Yeah, the bad one. And what's her name? The girl who's on Home.
I can't remember who it is.
On Home, Claire Danes. And Yeah, it's the autobiography of Elvis. Is it an autobiography? It's not your typical biopic. I mean, it's Baz Luhrmann, so you have to expect it's going to be pretty kinetic.
Yeah.
Kinetic. Tom Hanks plays Colonel Tom Parker, and then what do I know this guy from, Jackson? The guy who plays Elvis.
Austin Butler.
Yeah. Is he like a Disney kid? What do I?
He's been in some things. I was looking at it before this. It looks like he was a Disney kid, but he's been in some bigger things.
Has he? I was.
Yeah, I'm trying to find his thing right now. Let me take a look.
Because I didn't recognize him from anything, and I didn't,
It said, he was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
As who?
I think he might have been one of the people that, one of the Manson followers.
On the farm, one of those guys.
Yeah, his character name was Tex Watson. I think he was the guy who got his crap pushed in by Brad Pitt.
Really? Or is he one of the murderers? Is he one of the guys? He's
He's the one that Brad Pitt beat the absolute hell out of.
Oh, okay. So he's the guy who went to kill.
I think. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I don't know.
Either guy's on the bar. Well, he's the newcomer who came along. Elvis, Jackson. Initial thoughts. Is it a musical, Jackson?
It's not a musical.
Okay.
It has music in it.
A lot.
But I wouldn't it has a lot of music in it, but I wouldn't consider it a musical.
Mm-hmm.
Because the music is usually tied to like live performances that Elvis did, obviously.
Right.
It's really interesting because you said this was a biopic about Elvis, but really, this is just 2.5 hours of Baz Luhrmann jerking himself off in front of a mirror.
Oh.
It's so interesting. This was a complete directorial failure in every aspect.
Oh, okay.
It's funny because this is like my Enter the Void. This isn't the worst movie I've ever seen, but by a long shot.
Oh.
But this might be the most pretentious. Just complete all style, no substance. Horrific editing, almost nauseating. For no reason.
Right.
And the only thing that saves this movie is Austin Butler's performance, which is only showed sparingly in between just the worst like stylistic decisions I maybe have seen from a film in a while. I don't understand why he went in this direction. This is just like the most maximalist, like, go! Throw everything at the wall. But here's the thing. Mm-hmm. It's fast-paced, but it also feels like it lasts 4.5 hours. Which is weird and doesn't make sense to me.
I'm just interjecting. I know you have more thoughts. Is this your first Baz Luhrmann film? Or what have you seen before of his?
I have seen Romeo and Juliet, so I know that this is his thing,
style.
Kind of.
It's his style. It's very much his style.
It is his style. I hate it.
Right.
It does not work ever. It just seems like...
Did you hate it?
It just seems...
In Romeo and Juliet?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did not like Romeo and Juliet.
Okay.
But I also saw that... It's been ages. I saw that in 6th grade when I read the book, so it's been a long time. But
the play. It's not a book.
The play, I mean. But look, it just felt like... It felt like he was more interested in doing Baz Luhrmann than he was in doing Elvis. I don't think that the editing decisions made sense. I think that he should have done so much more to show how well Austin Butler was playing Elvis, because I feel like we lost a lot of that in the translation. I also don't know why was the score like intermixed with hip hop songs. I don't understand.
I'm going to address that.
Yeah, it didn't make sense to me why that was a thing. I look, Austin Butler has one of the best performances of the year in this film. He is undeniably Elvis in this. I think Tom Hanks. Look, I don't know what Elvis's manager was like in real life. That was before my time, but I'm going to assume that he did a very good job. I bought him as that skeevy manager guy, and I think he was. I didn't recognize him as Tom Hanks either. I mean, I knew it was him, but like throughout the movie, I kind of forgot that it was him. And
pretty good makeup job.
He became Colonel. What's his name? Colonel
Tom Parker.
Tom Parker, yeah. But man, I just don't. Why? it just felt so much like it didn't feel like I want to tell a story of Elvis. It felt like I want to make an Elvis movie look like all of my movies.
Right.
And I hate that so much. Like, you have to learn to adapt, and I understand developing a style.
Yeah.
And that's totally fine. But if you're going to do a biopic like this about someone who's such a popular culture icon, you have to learn to make adjustments, especially when it's such a like a character film like this, like a character study into both Elvis and the Colonel. With that being said, I do appreciate all of the mentions that obviously Elvis would never be Elvis without black musicians that came before him. I appreciate the inclusion of that because the truth is, in my personal opinion, Elvis is very unoriginal when it comes to music. I mean, most of what he did was...
Elvis would probably have been the first person to tell you that.
Yeah, no,
he was very.
It's not Elvis's fault.
Yeah, he was always very forthcoming about the music he was performing and where he got it from and what he was paying. I don't know, tribute to, or what his inspirations were. So,
no, of course, the evil behind that comes obviously from the popular culture not accepting black artists and only taking it in when it's being a white guy on stage.
Yeah, it's which is unfortunate. Most of the white people back then didn't realize that, because they weren't exposed to the rhythm and the blues that was coming out of the southern part of the country at that point, that inspired him and that he dreamed to be.
At the end of the day, it just comes down to culture. White, whatever you want to call white, I guess white people not being ready for it, and then of course, managers and higher ups taking advantage of finding a white guy who was doing the black style.
Right.
So I appreciate the inclusion of that a lot, and I do think that the actors that were used to impersonate those famous people, like B.B. King, and especially the Little Richard performance, was one of my favorite movies in the whole movie.
Yeah.
I thought that was one of the best performances of the whole show.
Yeah,
I loved
his
kid.
Energy.
Yeah,
the kid
he did fantastic.
Yeah, the kid they got to do Tutti Frutti had Little Richard spot on.
Oh yeah, a lot of energy.
Okay, well, let me address a couple of those issues and my thoughts. First off, I mean, I'm going in knowing a little bit more, I think, about Baz Luhrmann than you. I was a massive fan of Moulin Rouge. Which is very much a Baz Luhrmann spectacle. Whether it be Strictly Ballroom or Romeo and Juliet or any of his films, when you go into a Baz Luhrmann film, at this point, you pretty much know what to expect. Baz Luhrmann is... he wants you to know it's a Baz Luhrmann film. I mean, every film opens with his signature logo. I mean, it's front and center that you are going to see a spectacle. Does it work for this type of story? I'm a little split. I do agree it's very over-directed. The editing is just so fast. If I had one more pan up or down of the International Hotel in Vegas, I was like, we get it. We're at the International.
My Lord. We're at, we know.
Putting the Elvis sign up, taking it down. But I'm fighting something, because where I go, geez, Baz, could you pull back and show us the story of Elvis without all of your camera trickery and the editing and the updated music with the hip hop? I also go, let's say if we had taken Baz out of the equation, would this movie have been as interesting? Because then it becomes more like a biopic, like Walk the Line, the Johnny Cash film, or Jamie Foxx and Ray, where you go, those movies were very simple. They're simple biopics. It starts, they're a young kid, we follow through their life. And then, it's more about the performance, When you think about Walk the Line, you don't think about the director, you think about Joaquin Phoenix playing Johnny Cash. When you think about Ray, you think about Jamie Foxx and his fantastic performance as Ray. When you think about Ali, you think about Will Smith playing Ali, not Michael Mann directing him in that. When you see this film, you think, this is a great performance in a Baz Luhrmann spectacle. So there's part of me that goes, man, he really got in the way of his actors, and let them get more of the focus. Everything doesn't have to be about the lighting and the quick cuts and the music. But there is a flip to that. If you take that away, it become a little more like, it's your typical biopic. So
yeah, but I don't think there's anything wrong with that when you have such a strong performance. I mean, it'd be like if I was like,
But I don't.
Huge
but,
news.
But
like
I don't.
David Lynch is doing a Martin Luther King Jr. biopic, and then it was like halfway through he starts talking backwards, and you're like, "What the hell is going on?"
But
you have to learn to adapt as a director.
I don't think that the Baz Luhrmann aspect of this film killed the performances. I agree.
I don't think it killed the performances.
Right.
I just think that it definitely threw a blanket over them.
I think both
them.
these guys are going to end up with probably nominations at the end of the year. I think Austin Butler's getting fantastic buzz on the film and deserves it. So I disagree with you a little bit. I do agree it's over-directed. The editing is crazy and a little kinetic. It is a tad long. But I don't think the quote-unquote Baz Luhrmann formula took away from it as much as it did for you. Is it pretentious? Is it in your face? Yes. But that's what it's nothing new. If you've seen any Baz Luhrmann film, you know what to expect. Do I think this works better in something like Moulin Rouge? Absolutely, because that's just a straight up musical and you want that flash and kinetic.
Yeah.
Do I think it works in Romeo and Juliet? I did not. I thought, good God,
no.
Is there?
No, yeah.
It was like it doesn't mesh. So where I think Romeo and Juliet and Baz Luhrmann do not mix at all, and where I think Moulin Rouge and Baz Luhrmann was the perfect blend, this one's in the middle for me. It didn't ruin it,
okay, but
it certainly didn't aid it all that much. I also felt the movie was kind of in two halves. I feel like there was the young Elvis first half, and then there was the fat Vegas second half. I was more interested in the second half. I find that aspect
really.
I enjoy what happens to him after the fame more interesting than the first, at least for me. I'm not saying the first half was bad. I just felt the second half was a more interesting story, and I also do agree. I don't know if I remember sitting there and I'm listening. By the way, there's music. It's not a musical, but there is music playing in the background in almost every scene.
Pretty much the entire time, yeah.
There's a lot of taking Elvis songs and kind of mixing them with either hip-hop rap or, as my daughter pointed out, apparently Doja Cat comes in somewhere. I wouldn't know. It was a little bit like distracting at first. I'm like, does rap music belong in this film taking place in, the 50s and 60s?
Yeah.
But I get that. That's what Baz Luhrmann does. He did it in previous films as well. I don't know if that completely worked for me either. I'm like, we're listening.
It felt like more of like a cash grab. Yeah. That aspect did, where I'm like,
there's a
that's
soundtrack.
Denzel Curry. That's Doja Cat. We're pushing a product at this point.
Like
this isn't part of the film.
there's a soundtrack out there, and we have to make sure the kids are buying it as well. Like we have to.
Yeah, definitely.
We have to appeal to the people. Look. They want to hit everybody. There's a generation of people who are going to go see this film because they grew up on Elvis. That's your grandparents, and then there's a generation of kids who are going to go see this because it looks flashy and Austin Butler, and because they're going to hear that the music's kind of cool and hip and different. I did not love the film. I certainly did not hate it as much as you. I enjoyed it.
Unfortunately, it was just a bit of a shock to me because I'd only seen Romeo and Juliet, and so I don't know. It was like, that was contained to that movie, and this is going to be really good, like deep dive into what made Elvis. Yeah. And it does have that. It was just so much where I was like, this is so unnecessarily like in your face.
Yeah, that's Baz. That is Baz, and I agree with you. It was distracting. I think if he had pulled the throttle back a bit, I think if it hadn't been continuous the entire film, I think it would have helped a little bit. But I still think with the two great performances, visually there are some cool things happening. There are some music sequences that are, the kid had Elvis down, and
that first performance was really the first one where he's in that pink suit and the small tiny stage was really great. Yeah. I did enjoy that sequence very much.
He's great, and I also did kind of like the ending. It was a little manipulative, but I did like the way they blended from the Austin Butler Elvis into the actual real Elvis in the final performance before his death. not to give anything away, but there are clips at the end of the actual.
Not to give anything away, but Elvis does die.
Yeah, Elvis
at some point.
Elvis does die, but they actually do use some clips of the real Elvis that they it was kind of a little camera trickery, but I thought was kind of neat. So you're looking at Academy Award worthy nomination performances in a film that is over-directed, but I can forgive that a lot. I'm giving Elvis, on my grade scale, a very solid B.
Really? That high?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think you wanted to say a C.
No.
I feel like you really wanted to.
No.
I think you really wanted to say a C. He's sick. He's sick.
It's
Elvis.
people are going to enjoy this film. There's a lot of fun to be had here.
People will enjoy this. I
And
agree.
not
People will
everyone
enjoy
is
this
going to
film.
be as annoyed by the Luhrmann-esque aspects as you. And I wasn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't. And I might be a little more prepped for that because I've seen more of his films than you. So I knew it was going to have that feel. What are your
Elvis Elvis has left the building. I'm gonna give Elvis a 3 out of 10. That's my that's my score.
Okay. All right. 3 out of
9
10.
out of 10 on Austin Butler though. He freaking killed it.
Just to let you know, a little side note, while we've been talking about Elvis, I keep looking down. I've gotten at least 4 calls from car dealerships that want to sell you a car desperately. My God, they just hound us.
Keep going.
I'm like, guys,
They just keep going.
We'll let you know. Nothing turns me off from buying a car from somebody than when they keep bothering me. Hey,
it just comes off as desperate. It's like,
I know. Well, they are. They are.
If
That's how
I
they
want
make
it,
their money.
we'll buy it. Yeah. If I want it, we'll buy it.
Yeah.
And PGN podcast, guys.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go on.
I was just gonna do a quick little segue.
Yeah, do that segue. Make room for the commercial edit. Do we have any commercials yet? Do we have sponsors?
We don't have sponsors yet. No, we
Nothing?
Don't. We don't.
No,
nothing.
Not any kind of like a.
Come on, guys, give us money.
How about juice boxes?
Give us money to do this.
Juice boxes. They're small.
Everyone needs them.
When are they going to make a larger? When are they going to make a larger juice box? Remember when you were young?
That's
juice
what,
box?
you know what? That's a great point. Because
like,
what's the?
They're so small. Like two squeezes and 3 squirts in your mouth, and you're like, that was the end of the juice box.
Enough.
It's never enough for the soccer game. Didn't you always want like an extra juice box?
Yeah, it's like you never just have one juice box because what? That's like if I'm eating it with my lunch, like that's like 2 sips and I'm done, and then I just have a whole sandwich left.
Anyone who has a juice box right now, I defy you to open it and pour it into a glass and then realize you're getting like 2 inches hot. I guarantee you're gonna pour it into a glass and go, "Oh my God, that's it." You're gonna be like,
what happened?
It's nothing. I bet you.
Yeah,
it's
it
like
really is nothing.
I bet you it's like a 1/4 cup of juice. What a rip-off.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Juice boxes.
What a rip-off.
I remember we get juice boxes or Capri Suns, and I'd be like, Did you have Capri Suns, Jackson? That's the bags.
Like in the house?
No, not now. I wouldn't buy that. There's no juice in them. But when you were little, did you ever have the Capri Suns?
Yeah, of course. The pouches.
Yeah,
like
the
pouches
pouch ones. It wasn't the box. And you would always like try to smash
I never
the
thought
straw
those
into
tasted
it.
as good as the boxes.
You like the boxes better than the Capris?
I'm a juice box guy. I'm not a juice pouch guy.
The Capri Suns look like they had. They
do.
looked like they had more juice though, but I bet they did.
They did. I bet they did.
Okay, you know what I'm doing? You know what I'm doing? Next week, I'm gonna get 1 Capri Sun.
Okay,
and one juice box, and we're going to get 2 glasses. And right here, even though this is a movie podcast, on air, we're going to open a Capri Sun, open a juice box, standard now, your standard juice box, standard Capri Sun, and pour them into a glass. Which one do you think's going to have more, Jackson, the box or the Capri Sun? Or are they going to be
I have to
even?
go with the Capri Sun. I think the Capri Sun's going to have at least a little bit more. At least a little bit more.
All right.
Yeah, nothing crazy. I'm not talking double, but it'll have a little bit more, I think.
Man, talk about a tease. We're going to have huge ratings next week.
It's going to be crazy.
The Capri Sun Juice Box Challenge. All right, it's on.
Capri Sun Juice Box Challenge. All right, cool.
That's on.
So, yeah, I think we should jump. I want to jump around a little bit. I think we should go back to one of the movies that we missed next. And one that I've been wanting to talk about since I saw it. And that is going to be the new Disney Pixar movie, Lightyear.
Lightyear. So,
Lightyear.
Lightyear. The... Would you call it a prequel? What would you call that? Inspired by?
So, I guess in the Toy Story universe, Andy buys the Buzz Lightyear toy after he sees a movie that stars Buzz Lightyear, and so this is what that movie is. It's the movie that made Andy want to buy Buzz Lightyear. So it's kind of like
his Star Wars.
Yeah, it's like his Star Wars.
Right, he saw Star Wars and he went and wanted to go buy Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, exactly. It's basically that. Yeah. So, do you want to here? Here's what I want to do. I'm going to describe.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm going to describe to you the plot of this movie, and I want you to tell me. Okay, I'm just going to go. So Lightyear tells a story of a guy, a guy who goes on a mission per se, and it doesn't go quite well for him. Okay, and he ends up stuck in an unfamiliar place, and as well as trapping in a couple other people, and he feels like it's his fault. Okay, he wants nothing more than to get out of this place.
I'm gonna guess.
And so I'm
gonna guess this is Lightyear, right?
Yeah, this is Lightyear.
I'm smart like that.
This is Lightyear. So, see, he's in this unfamiliar place, and the entirety of the movie is him being desperate to get out. He just wants to get out of this place. It's his one main character goal. And throughout, he kind of picks up the help of other people, but he's kind of off-putting at first. He doesn't want to be, with these other people. He thinks that when he's by himself, he's at his best. But throughout the film,
kind of sounds like you at home. For the summer, kind of sounds like
wow. Yeah, it's just
desperate.
Wow,
desperate to
I'm
get
gonna
out.
keep going and pretending I didn't hear that.
Okay.
And throughout the film, he realizes, oh my gosh, like I can make a home here, and these people are actually really good, and they're actually doing a lot to help me. And so by the end of the film, he ends up realizing that while he does have the ability to leave, he would prefer to just stay here and be with these people that he's grown to love throughout that movie. That is the plot of Cars.
Right.
That's Cars.
Well,
it's like Cars. It's Cars. And it's so funny because I'm the only person I've heard say this, but this movie is just basically just Cars, but space. It's space Cars. Which isn't bad. I just wanted to point that out. Like
Jackson, are you actually accusing Disney/Pixar of reformulating the same story that they've told 20 times before? I'm doing it on purpose because they've proven like 3 times this year they can do original stories with Turning Red and like Luca and a bunch of other great films that have come out this year already. So they have the ability, right?
And they chose not to.
So this is one of their more lazy entries, is what you're saying?
I mean, I would say I really like the idea for it. I like the idea of being like, oh yeah, this is the movie that inspired Andy to get the toy. I think that's a really good idea. I just think could have done a little more original.
Before I give you my thoughts, first off, I don't know if you've read the papers, but this movie is not doing well. After
I know because I've seen it in the theaters.
After opening last weekend, it has dropped almost 65%.
Wow.
There's been a lot of talk. There's been a lot of talk about the wokeness. There's people who are speculating that that the wokeness of the film is what's hurting it. I don't know if I completely buy that.
I would disagree as well.
I don't know if you know this. There's a chain of theaters in Oklahoma that actually put a warning before the movie in the theaters saying that there's a female lesbian kiss.
It's like 2 seconds, and it's not even a big plot point.
I know.
If you haven't seen it, I'm just pointing out for the viewers.
There's speculation that that might be hurting the film. I think what's hurting the film more, though, is the fact that it's just not the most original Disney film. Certainly not the one that I've seen. Visually, I thought it was really good. I mean, it looks really sharp. The animation is fantastic. A lot of the characters feel very stock. I think Chris Evans does a fine job as Buzz. I don't think, not that I'm a huge Tim Allen fan, but I think we're not getting that same kind of cocky character.
It's different.
It's definitely different. It's more straightforward. The supporting characters, Keke Palmer, and Tahiki. Please help me. Jojo Rabbit director.
I don't. Taika Waititi.
Taika Waititi. They're all fine as the supporting cast of Buzz's cohorts. There's a cute little kitty thrown in there that has some comedic moments, but we've seen it with Doug and Up, or there's always a cute little toy or sidekick or animal. There is some original aspects, I think, of Buzz Lightyear that can't be completely ignored. There was things at the beginning with the story that I just did not quite see coming. I found them a bit redundant, this whole continuing to try to get off this planet that he's on and the time jumps. And I thought there was some creativity to that, but the movie certainly does drag. But visually, I do think it's one of the prettier animated films I've seen from Disney in a while. Which is a shame because it's really lacking, I think, in the creativity and probably any character really hang your hat on. I didn't dislike any character, but boy, I certainly wasn't rooting for them the way you would want to.
Yeah, I would agree with that. One of the major, I'll say this: whenever I go into like a kids movie like this, or like a movie that's marketed for kids at least,
right.
I do what I call as like the Mr. Rogers test. I was lucky enough to grow up around the time when Mr. Rogers was still airing, and so I kind of grew up knowing that like you can deal with like heavier topics in kids media and don't have to like spoon feed kids things. And I don't think this shied away from that. I think it passed in some aspects. You have like him not aging, and his best friend continues to age and eventually passes away, and they have that bit of a heavy moment. But the problem with that is that you don't have enough time with the characters to really like get attached to them. So it's kind of like the first 15 minutes you meet a character, they're gone, and then you're like, oh, like that doesn't really have that much of an emotional impact on me.
I would disagree with you on that aspect because I think that can be highly effective if done right.
I agree, and they did with Up.
The first 10 minutes I was crying and I didn't know any of them yet. So if it's done correctly, but it was not this. I didn't feel vested.
No, yeah, that's what I agree with that. Like it can be done correctly. It's just that they didn't give enough of the characters, I think, like personality wise, in order to like, because really, by the time that his friend dies, I'm forgetting the character name. All we really know about her is that they work together and she's married and has a child and a grandchild, and that's pretty much all there is for that character. When, as opposed to Up, where it's like, oh my god, these people have been married for years, and we get to watch their love develop and their little mannerisms, like fixing the tie and giving him the balloons and make sure it isn't falling away, and picnics, and it's like you watch a lifetime pass in front of your eyes.
Right.
This was more of just like, oh, like I'm seeing this person once every 20 years, and they don't really. Not that they don't matter, they just don't stick with you as much. This doesn't hurt as much. All I will say, Killian cried.
So your sister cried?
I'm dead serious. So they did something right because she got teary eyed.
Wow. Okay. Well, look at her. Because she told me she fell asleep during it.
Maybe she did, but she was crying. You can ask her.
She cried so heavy she went to sleep.
Yeah,
it's already stacking up to be one of the. I don't know if it'll completely tank. I think this is the kind of movie that'll make money overseas, and long haul will probably make a ton once it's on on demand or whatever. But it's shaping up right now to be what they call one of the most disappointing films of the year, and I can see why. I didn't care for it, but there's not gonna be much buzz on Buzz Lightyear. It's already dropping tremendously. If you haven't bothered to go see it, I can't.
Did you catch the post-credit scenes?
I did, as a matter of fact. Yeah.
I've had to see them probably 50,000 times because of cleaning theaters. But,
yeah.
I actually saw them before I saw the movie, so it was kind of like a
a
little preamble.
You got a preamble
to the.
Both cute. Yeah, there's
little
Marvel edition scenes. There's 2 additional scenes. They're cute, I guess.
There's 3 additional scenes.
Was
Did
there
you
3?
miss the last one?
No. Was that the robot?
No, there's one more after.
What was it? Just give me like a hint.
It's like a sequel tease.
Oh, yes, I did see that.
Yeah.
Yes, I saw that one too.
I don't feel like there will be a sequel.
I don't think there will be. I think we're done.
Yeah.
There is a sequel tease.
I agree with
that. You know what? When a movie's got its heart in the right place, I can't just completely slam it. Visually, It looks wonderful. They put a lot of work into it. The voice acting is fine. Nothing's going to jump out as a great performance. And it's got its heart in the right place. So Lightyear for me gets a C-. Jackson.
Okay. And before I give my rating, I do just want to say this. As much as I feel like the wokeness of this movie doesn't matter, I do just want to point out that Disney World is in Florida, and because of that, Disney as a company does give a lot of money to anti-LGBTQ legislators. So keep in mind, great they're showing that on film, but behind the scenes they don't care. So I just wanted to point that out before I give my score.
Look at you on your soapbox.
5 out of 10.
5 out of 10. All right, 5 out of 10. Look at you. You're becoming a little.
I'm just saying.
You're like a little. You're a little activist. I send you off to college. Suddenly, you got these goddamn opinions. Suddenly, you got
like, why was paying for?
Oh, listen to my generation. We have a voice. It's our world. It's our planet. Me. It's all me.
What was that? Wow, do I really sound like that?
No, I sound like that with my laryngitis.
Yeah, you do.
Hey, our other new movie.
You sound better right now.
Yeah, a little bit. I got the lozenge going, baby.
He's got the lozenge in. Let's go.
The other new movie we saw last week, we watched this together. It's a Netflix film. It's called Spiderhead. I don't know if you guys have seen it. If you got the Netflix, you've probably at least scrolled by it. People love to go on the Netflix. I do it all the time. I hate it, and I just scroll through the boxes, and I'm like,
you're never gonna believe who's calling me right now.
Is it a car dealership?
It's a car dealership.
Oh my God, we should put them on and talk to them. Hey, have you given any more thought to? Yeah, you actually have an appointment today that we're blowing off to test drive something.
Yeah.
You know what? Mm-hmm. I think we saw how many cars were out there. They'll be there tomorrow. Spiderhead is on Netflix. It's a film directed by Joseph Kosinski, who, if you don't know the name, he directed a little movie called Maverick that's playing right now. This is another
still going in theaters, by the way. Still in theaters. Still selling tickets like gangbusters.
Yeah, people going back for multiple viewings. This is kind of a reunion. I don't know which came first, Maverick or Spiderhead, but he's working with Miles Teller again and Chris Hemsworth. Spiderhead is it's definitely a different type of film. It may not be what you expect going into it. It's a very brief film. I'd say a little over an hour and a half. And it's based on, I can't remember, it was either a short story or a novel. It definitely feels like it. It's a sci-fi film. It's very isolated, very much a performance film. So please don't expect death rays and spaceships and tons of action, although they throw a little bit in. Mm-hmm. A little bit of action at the end. But it's kind of a thinking man, Bradbury-ish, New World, keeping your eye on Big Brother type of thing. There's a lot of different themes going here. I'm not sure if they completely nailed that. It's an interesting film. I have a couple thoughts on it. But Jackson, what's your first takeaways?
Yeah, my first takeaways, I didn't dislike watching this movie. I don't think I came away being like, oh my God, you guys have to go see the new Miles Teller movie. It's crazy. I did enjoy, why am I blanking on his name? The main scientist.
Chris Hemsworth.
Thor. I did enjoy his performance a lot. It's always nice to be reminded that he can do more than just Thor because he does that so well. And sometimes I forget. I'm like, oh, you can be in other things and be good at it.
Okay, since you're bringing it up, because this is my main problem with the film. Since we're talking.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's a little problem, but here's my deal. And I don't know if Chris Hemsworth is to blame or the studio that made the film is to blame. Mm-hmm. If Brad Pitt had been in this role, Chris Hemsworth plays kind of for lack of a better term, a mad scientist who's experimenting on prisoners with drugs that manipulate their emotions without giving away the movie. That's kind of the basis of it. He's a scientist working for a pharmaceutical company that is experimenting on people in prison on how to manipulate emotions. And if Brad Pitt had played this role, I feel like Brad Pitt would have done something physically to alter his appearance, mannerisms, voice. When Brad Pitt Brad Pitt, who desperately wants to be a character actor, I think about performances like 12 Monkeys or True Romance, where he really tries to change his look, his feel, his persona. Now, I don't know if Hemsworth just said, I'll play this role, but I have to be the most attractive, well-put-together scientist in the world, or if the studio goes, we'll let you do this role, but you're going to look like a movie star when you're doing it. It's just, it was a little distracting. His hair was always perfect. He had a great tan. I'm like, he was never shown working out. He's a scientist who spends hours and hours at this place. How am I describing this? He looks like a movie star, and I wanted him to look like a mad scientist.
Okay.
And I don't.
I see what you're saying.
I don't know if it's like he's got the perfect glasses and the clothes is form fitted, and I think there's even a scene or two where he has his shirt off, and I just kind of like, is Netflix going, well, we want him to look as hot as possible because that's what's going to get the clicks and get the people to watch this film. His performance is very good. He's very good. But I wish something had been done to make him look less like a movie star and more like a character. Does that make sense? Excuse me.
Yeah, I actually disagree with you on that front.
Okay.
I actually like that he looked very perfect. They did have a workout sequence. I think you might be forgetting that.
Oh, he was
they did a little thing where
boxing.
He got up very early and he had a smoothie in his hand. And he's doing the bike and stuff.
Yeah.
I think that part of his character is keeping up this illusion of perfection, and throughout the movie we see the cracks start to happen, where it's like he goes from this person who's always positive, always happy, and then as it goes on, you obviously see his brain start to, I guess, short wire a little bit. So I kind of like that they had picked him for this role specifically just for the fact that he looked like the perfect man, and wanted to keep up that illusion for the prisoners that was in his prison.
Okay.
But that's just. I could just be projecting, and I could just be. They could have just been like, "No, we want someone hot in the role. Let's get him."
I didn't read the book. Maybe in the book it's like he's a.
I did not either.
He's an Adonis. I don't know. It's just, I guess what I'm saying is I'm ready for Chris Hemsworth to take on a great role where he doesn't look like Chris Hemsworth.
I agree with that. I think that he can switch it up a little bit without having to be the hot guy.
Right.
In the movie.
I mean, even Tom Cruise. It's like you can say what you want. It's like, oh, Mission Impossible, Top Gun, but he did Rock of Ages. He did Born on the 4th of July. He's done Magnolia. He's done things to try to change up and get out of that.
Yeah.
I'm done looking at Chris Hemsworth being hot. I want to see.
Yeah. That's fair.
I get
That's
it.
fair.
I get it. You're beautiful, but you're also a great actor. And again, I don't know how much of it's the studios or the directors going, listen, you're Chris Hemsworth and we got to put butts in the seats. But I'm ready for a slightly uglier Chris Hemsworth, and this is probably just my insecurity as a man. I'm tired of looking at somebody so much prettier than me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
I enjoyed Spiderhead. I think we've talked about Miles Teller. I think he's a guy with a lot of promise. I think if he continues to pick stuff that challenges him a bit and does the Top Guns too, I think he's probably around for a while. I think he's pretty good, and I think this probably would have worked better as a short film. Like, to me, sometimes it felt like like it was a short film that was stretched a little bit long, even though it's a pretty quick running time. I think going in, I knew this wasn't going to be an action-packed film. I found it interesting. I liked all the supporting people as well, all the different people they were experimenting on. There was some real comedy to be mined. This film is a little light at times. Which makes it weird. It goes from very light to heavy. The soundtrack is awesome. A lot of songs from my generation get thrown in.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna love that. That soundtrack had your name written all over it.
Yeah, it's definitely my music. So enjoyed it. I'm gonna give Spiderhead a B-.
Okay, yeah. I think I didn't really get a chance to talk much about it, but I think that my main issue with Spiderhead was just that it didn't have like a lot of substance to it, which not to say that movies have to have substance, but just like when you're talking about a topic like the prison industrial complex, I'm about to get back on my soapbox. You have a lot to say there. There's a lot to talk about. And this is more of just like, yeah, like this is a thing that happens. Because it is a thing that happens. But yeah, overall, I would say that I enjoyed it. I didn't dislike watching this movie, and I think I'm just going to give it a 5 out of 10, right down the middle.
Right in the middle. See, I feel like a 5 out of 10 is pretty bad.
A 5 out of 10 is not bad.
It's 50%.
You only think that.
It's
you
an
only
F.
Yeah.
It's
you
an
only
F.
think that because the grading system makes no sense.
But
a 50% is mediocre. It's just in the middle.
It's an F. If you came home with a
in
50
between.
on it,
If this is bad and this is good, it's in the middle. It's mediocre. It's nothing. It's mid.
Listen, when you were in high school, if you came home with a 50 on a test, what would I do? I would beat you with a belt. Remember? That's what would happen.
Okay.
I would beat you. Okay, I wouldn't do it.
Okay, but that's because the grading system is different than my personal movie rating system. It's different. It's like on a scale of 1 to 10. If I go on a scale of 1 to 10, how much pain are you in? And you went 5. You wouldn't go, oh my god, are you like dying? You would be like, oh, like okay, you probably have like pretty bad stomach. It's like it's not the end of the world. A 5 is it's a 5. It's halfway down the middle.
When you came home in high school,
if you
with
talk
test,
about grades one more time,
this is
different than grades. It's different.
Hey,
than grades.
Hey, Dad, I got
the grading
great
system
news.
is.
I got a 50% on a test today. That means I got half.
This isn't
of
weighted.
correct.
I don't grade on a curve.
I think you're wrong.
I think you're wrong. I think you're wrong. It's the same as me giving it a C. There's no difference.
Okay, if you had
I was literally 1 point. Okay, if we were to transfer my system to your grading system, you gave this a B minus and I gave it a C.
Right.
This is just 1 letter grade off, like half a letter grade off.
Yeah, but a 50 is an F.
Oh my god.
Your system sucks. My system's the best. That's okay.
Listen, if you say so, and that's why you use yours and I use mine.
I never understood thumbs up, thumbs down. I loved Ebert.
No,
Siskel and
that's
it's too. There's got to be an in between. I can't just say
there has to be because that's too simple for me. I can't do that.
Right.
I can't be doing that. Speaking of belts.
Oh, look at you! Segue.
Look at that.
Now, if you
that's
haven't,
what we call a segue.
Yeah, but if you haven't seen the Black Phone, you don't know. But now we're not giving anything away. But belts do play
a
part.
bit of a role in the Black Phone.
The other big new film that opened this weekend, directed by Scott Derrickson, who also directed the first Doctor Strange movie for the Marvel ones, and I think he's one of the main directors and producers of the TV show Snowpiercer. He wrote and directed this film. It's called The Black Phone. I think it's also based on a book or a short story. I wanted to say it said during the credits. I spotted that. Yeah. The only name you'd recognize on this top billing is Ethan Hawke, who, by the way, one of our best actors. He's done. I forgot to mention. I watched Before Sunrise for the first time 2 weekends ago. Are you on board?
Oh, I not only am I on board, I am sailed away.
Okay.
Writing is immaculate. Ethan Hawke is perfect.
You and Julie Delphi and how many are there? There's Before Sunrise, After Sunrise. Sunset.
Yeah, I gotta finish a trilogy. There's a trilogy. I gotta finish them still.
They weren't my boo. Even though I love Ethan Hawke and I love
all I'm gonna say is
Richard
I will
Linklater.
I'll be bringing a book on every train ride that I ever go on from now on because that's such a good movie. And I love it. It was sweet. I enjoyed it.
It is a very sweet film. So if anyone out there...
You know what? Viewers at home, treat yourself. Go watch Before Sunrise.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Treat yourself.
Ethan Hawke, however, does not play a young romantic on a train in this film. We're not giving anything away to say if you've seen the preview of the poster. He is the antagonist.
The grabber.
The grabber, as they speak. This is another one of those films. Blumhouse. If there's a scary movie out now, it's produced by Blumhouse.
Yeah.
However you pronounce it. I guess I knew there was supernatural elements to this movie, but maybe I forgot going in because once the movie about a half hour, 40 minutes in takes that twist into what starts as more of like a serial killer type stalker film, does take a big supernatural twist. It was a bit jarring for me for a little bit, but I took it for what it was worth. But for me, that takes the scares out of it. I'm just not. I don't believe in ghosts. I don't believe in, anything supernatural. So when a film brings that aspect in, I'm going to be a little less scared. And that certainly happened with The Black Phone. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. Someone asked me at work the other day what I thought of the movie, and I said I actually like this. I like this movie. And I said it's really good. Don't go into it thinking it's going to be a horror movie. Think of it more as a thriller, or I guess like an escape movie. If that makes any sense. I like this a lot though. I was telling Mom this earlier, but I am really glad that they put Ethan Hawke in a mask, because I just said, watched Before Sunrise,
right.
And so by this, eventually he does get demasked, and at that moment I was like, oh, that's Ethan Hawke. Like
right.
I was like, oh, that's Ethan Hawke, and that's like,
you're like, oh, that's
but
he should be on a train with Julie Delphi. Yeah.
No, exactly. So I think it was a really smart move to have him in the mask, and it just added to the creep factor a little bit.
Yeah, it gave him a chance to kind of work his voice too.
Definitely, yeah. It gave him an edge.
It's a mark of a good actor when you can. I mean, yeah, the mask does half the work, but you got to really rely on your vocal performance to make sure it's creepy. And there's certain aspects of it that did not work for me. I thought the brother aspect was a little weak. I wasn't over the moon about, and I won't give it away, but the brother does play a role. But one of the things I really, really loved is...
You mean the sister?
No, Ethan Hawke. Brothers.
Ethan. Okay,
that felt a little, like.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Cocaine plays a role, but I'm like, how stupid can you be? It's like a lot going on for you to, not know. But I am going to give massive credit to the young actress Madeline McCraw, who plays Gwen. She was
nailed it.
Yeah, as far as child performances go, the lead guy, he's fine. He does an adequate job.
I agree. That was one of my big points as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't take away anything, but he's got a couple nice moments at the end where he breaks down, which is good. But the girl who plays his sister, I thought was just fantastic. Did someone just come into your room?
Yeah, I just got burst in on by
your sister, or your mother, or the dogs.
My mom, who is somehow shocked to see that I'm in here.
She probably just assumed you were doing something you shouldn't be doing and wanted to catch you. So next time, hide your drugs. And but yeah, real kudos to her. I thought she just
I agree.
Completely. She was fantastic. She really she made the film in many ways. Not reinventing the wheel, loses me a bit on the supernatural stuff, but I understand that's the story. But it was done effectively. It's brief, which I liked. It didn't outstay its welcome. Pretty formulaic ending. Definitely some nods to Silence of the Lambs here. There's
really which parts?
Well, I can't give away too much. I don't want to be the spoiler, but a little bit of the just the fact that someone's being held in a basement, someone trying to escape from that basement, people possibly going to the right residency or the wrong residency.
Oh, right.
There's just some nods to it, and it's a little formulaic at the end. These things always have a little bit of a problem sticking the landing, And I also appreciate that it wasn't some open-ended. Is the grabber still out there? The black phone too. Don't get me wrong. If it makes money, they'll find a way. There'll be the next generation of grabber.
Judging from the people I've been helping at the theater, I do not believe there will be a sequel. Just from the amount of people I've seen going to go see it. But it's just a smaller film. I don't think people are that crazy to see it, but I think it's worth seeing if you have the chance to go see it. I actually disagree with you. I actually liked the supernatural elements the most. I thought that's where the coolest camera moments always came from those supernatural sections.
A lot of the jump scares.
I thought the VFX helped a lot. And not even just the jump scares, just like there's this really great scene, probably my favorite part of the whole movie, where
the wall. Well, without giving it away, where the person he's talking to and there's a wall.
No, it was the scene where I'm trying not to give too much away, just because it gets whatever. It was the dirt in the phone.
Yeah.
The step forward, step back.
Yeah.
I liked that a lot, bringing that back. I just like the element of us being able to visualize the supernatural elements without the main character seeing them. I like that a lot.
Yeah, it's...
Yeah, I mean, like you said, we're not reinventing the wheel here, but I still had a lot of fun watching this. I think go see it for Ethan Hawke at the very least. And I'm completely forgetting, killer score, like killers. Really loved the music for this. I loved it. I thought also just the title sequence itself was also really cool to me. Lots of
it was
like,
a little
elements
70.
from Sinister. It was a little 70 and it was a little sinister-y, which is not surprising because I think this is the same director and Ethan Hawke is also in that movie. So so that's about all I have to say about
it is what it is. It's not reinventing the wheel, but it's done pretty well. My scale, grade scale, I'm giving the Black Phone a B-. And
I'm going to give the Black Phone a 7 out of 10.
Wow. So that's a C for you. That would be a C.
It's not a C.
It's a C.
A 5 would
70,
be a C.
70%.
A 5 would be a C. This is like your equivalent of a B or a B, like a B. Yeah, I'd say a B or a B plus.
Parental Guidance is Neglected. PGN podcast. I'm Regan Burns. My son Jackson Burns. I'm fighting through the laryngitis. We had so many movies to catch up. This is just
we're trying to get through.
We're going on hour 15 here of this particular episode. One of the things we do is we turn to the audience for suggestions of great films that we might have missed and horrible films that you make us sit through. A good friend of mine, Holly Baxter, recommended a movie to us that her husband forced her to watch years ago. And now she wanted to pay it forward and force us to watch it, which we did. We took that challenge and accepted it, or did we? The name of the film is Street Trash. I believe it's from 1986, maybe sometime around my senior year of high school. I don't think anyone involved with this particular film went on to do anything. That's not true. I do know that the director went on to direct a lot of TV. I know he directs Longmire, the Western, and some other stuff. But as far as the actors, I believe they all probably hung themselves after seeing the final product. That is Street Trash. I have a little bit of an inkling of remembering this film on video shelves in like Blockbusters. I worked in video stores, so I had a little memory.
It gives
of this.
off that vibe.
Yeah, I have a little memory of seeing this on the schlocky horror B movies back then, but I had never seen it, and now I know why. This is a film about, without going too far into it, because let's not. Love you, Holly. It deals with a bad batch of liquor that when homeless people, because they're the only ones who are buying liquor that's $1 a bottle, when they ingest this brew, it causes them to melt. Would that be the right word, Jackson?
Yeah. I would say melt, or I guess like transform into
goo.
A neon goo.
So basically like melted silly putty. But sidebar, there's also stories about post-traumatic syndrome in Vietnam, murder, rape, necrophilia,
just hitting all the stops in this one, guys.
This is a film that tries to shock...
Incest?
Oh, you didn't... okay, maybe not incest. But definitely the others. I'm trying to think. Definitely sex with a minor. Here's the problem with Street Trash. It's a film that for the first half feels like they're just trying to kind of gross you out. And by the second half, they're trying to see what they can get away with. Who have we not offended? And let's try to offend now.
Yeah.
I watched the entire film. Jackson, did you?
So
Oh, look at you.
started watching this with my mother.
Oh my God.
With my mother.
What is wrong with you?
I didn't know. I'm sorry.
It's
I didn't
called
expect
Street Trash,
the
Jackson.
Baxters to wheel out the rape fantasy movie out of nowhere. But no, I watched the first 30 minutes, and then after the black man shopping for watermelon sequence, ducked out pretty heavily.
Yeah, there's some pretty stereotypically racial stereotypes that
profiling
that do not hold up. A lot of this doesn't hold up.
Oh my God!
In
Not
this
even
age.
there's not a frame in this movie that holds up to today's standards.
Oh my God!
Yeah, no, I said I put a pretty hard stop after that, and looks like I didn't miss much.
So
judging from what you just said.
You didn't make it to the necrophilia scene. You didn't make it to the Vietnamese vampire dream sequence. You didn't make it to the knives made of human bones. I did get to that part. There was mention of his femur knife. Yeah.
And I did watch him put some guy's head through a windshield.
Yeah.
And I saw 2 goo deaths.
Yeah.
And
okay.
I saw a cop wearing a Minnie Mouse tank top.
Yeah, a very stereotypical gay-looking. All the cops were not. They didn't. I don't think they had it in the budget to actually dress like detectives or police officers. So they were all.
No.
Yeah. It's very weird. This is a very hard film to find. We had to watch it on YouTube, and the only full-length version we found had Spanish subtitles at the bottom, even though it was in English.
Yeah.
And that's the only way we were able to watch it. And maybe it's best.
That's for the better.
Maybe that's for the better. I did just a little research, and we won't talk about this forever, but it does have a bit of a cult following. It's one of those films that is.
I did see that as well. I did a little research as well. And I did find that.
It does have a little bit of that, kind of, and there's aspects of it that I can go were kitschy and silly, but with all the stuff that's just there for kind of grotesque shock value, I think it lost me at the rape. I mean, how's that for a movie review right there? I was with you till the rape.
Till the rape, yeah.
I think you're getting the idea. It's kind of, I could kind of watch it and go, wow, what a time capsule. Oh, look at the way we used to look at race. Look at the way we used to look at sexuality. Once we got to that part, it took kind of a hard turn to come back from. So I would love to say, oh, what a fun, crazy, horrible thing to watch one night. Unfortunately, I can't put it in that category because of that. Because otherwise, you could go, okay, I could see why people would get drunk and watch this at midnight on a big screen and laugh at it, but. It's no Rocky Horror Picture Show as far as a cult status type thing goes.
Yeah. When it comes to these kind of movies, I mean, you look at something like we've done in the past, like The Apple or like Prayer for the Roller Boys, and it's like they're dumb and they have their moments where it's like, oh, that didn't age great, but no one's getting raped. Let's be clear. Like, there's not. It's like I'm watching it, I'm like, oh my God, Jesus Christ, how am I gonna get through this? Right. And I mean, there are some people, I would not include in this group, but who are just like, rape should never be portrayed on screen, period. Where it's just like, that should never be something that's touched on. Oh. I disagree. I think there are movies like Perfect Blue that do it in a fashion that's okay for it. But
if nothing,
let's not do it in the 80s goo movie.
Yeah. If nothing else, I think you've learned in this episode that we here at the PGN podcast are very anti-rape.
Yeah,
we
guys,
are. Yeah, there's a takeaway.
That's a good take. I like that. That's a good takeaway from this episode. It's just
so as much as I would like to give this even a little bit of slap on the back for, hey, at least you guys made something that people are still talking about 30 years later. I think there's a reason why people are not. That's a very, very hard F on Street Trash for me.
And that is going to be a 1 out of 10 on my scale.
1 out of 10. You gave it a 1. Again, Jackson gives it a 1 if they manage to keep the camera in focus.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only way you get a 0 is if there was actually a scene or a boom shot. If we see the boom in a frame,
the boom in shot.
If the boom's in the shot, that's how you get a 0 or an
0
F
out of 10 in my
or
book.
an F- on the PGN podcast. We have a bit of a conundrum, Jackson. So next week is the July 4th weekend. And as you know, we here at the PGN podcast are constantly trying to bring you reviews of the new movies because you need to know if you're going to go spend your hard-earned money on what's opening in the Cineplex. The big movie opening next weekend, Jackson already shaking his head.
Don't say it. Stop. No, we're not doing this.
Is Minions Rise of Gru. Now, the only other film that I see opening next weekend, get ready for this one, Jackson, is Mr. Malcolm's List, which looks to be, it says...
I've never even heard of that.
Julia is a societal lady jilted by London's most eligible bachelor, Mr. Malcolm. When she fails to meet one of the items on his list of requirements for a bride, feeling shunned and humiliated, she enlists her friend Selena to help her take revenge on Mr. Malcolm by tricking him into thinking he was found his perfect match. And it just goes on. So it's a British... it sounds delightful. It sounds like...
it's got the guy from not Grey's Anatomy, 50 Shades of Grey in it, I think, as well.
I don't know. So apparently the studios are thinking Minions is going to be pretty untouchable next weekend. So we might have to look at some... I don't know what we're going to do. We might have to look at some art houses or... there's something called Brian and Charles that opened this weekend.
I
do you know anything about that? Looks...
I do. It's been showing at my theater. It's British like indie, I guess, indie film about a guy in a small town who makes an AI and is trying to keep it secret. Looks cute. An old couple left the theater saying it was the worst thing they'd ever seen. So it's probably pretty good.
Good.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we got Thor coming. We got Nope. We got some other stuff, Bullet Train. But next week is Minions. Oh boy, you know how I am about cartoons. It took everything I could to drag myself to Lightyear.
Yeah,
I don't know if I can see two cartoons.
Yeah,
maybe we'll check the streaming. There's something on I think on Apple called Cha Cha and the about the guy who the party, the guy.
I think I saw that.
Yeah, with what's her name, Dakota Fanning. That's supposed to be not Dakota Fanning, Dakota Johnson. That looks like it might be pretty good.
Cha Cha, real smooth. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that might be.
Oh yeah, that's the one with
Dakota.
Where it's like he's the bar mitzvah, the bar mitzvah party guy. Yeah, that looked cute actually.
That looked cute. That might be something we take a look at. Maybe we go to streaming this week. I don't know.
Guys, we're doing everything to not.
Yeah, I
see
just
this freaking Minions movie. I haven't seen the Despicable Me movie since the first one. They've come out with like 6 since then. I'm completely out of my element.
I know. We'll be so lost. We'll never be able to follow the story. We'll be like, which minion is that? Did the pink hat minion really know the purple hat minion? I mean, I don't know. But I can tell you that one of the other things we do since it's beginning of the month now is that we also get to pick a film ourselves, a great film.
It's your turn.
That neither one of us have seen, probably should have, and it is my turn to pick a film. So I do know that we are going to see another Oscar winner this week. Yes, this is yeah, with
ready.
It's kind of a political week, and we're not going to go into all the insanity that's going down right now.
Is it really?
Yeah, I know. I feel like there's been a lot of things happening in the news. I don't know, hearings and overturning of.
I don't know. Must have missed that.
Laws from 50 years ago. But there is a film that they say. So I was looking for something that people said was ahead of its time, and I want to know if it holds up, especially with the media age that we live in. For some reason, I just never saw the 1976 Oscar-winning film Network. For those who don't know, it was received 10 Oscar nominations. It had to do with network television and news. It won 4 Oscars. It won Best Actor posthumously for Peter Finch, who obviously has the... I have, of course, seen the Peter Finch scene. We're not going to take it anymore. Meltdown. Faye Dunaway also won for Best Supporting Actress or Best Actress. Beatrice Straight won for Best Supporting Actress. It also won Best Screenplay. Patty Chayefsky wrote the screenplay. It was nominated for director and
sounds good.
And Best Film as well.
I'm definitely interested.
It was supposed to be ahead of its time and very prolific in saying where we were headed. I'd be very curious to see what holds up and what still resonates today as far as news and how we are being fed it and what we are getting. So I thought that might be of interest, just considering the political climate and news that we're getting this week. So we're definitely going to curl up this week and watch a classic network. And if you've seen it before, might be interesting to hear what our thoughts are. And if you haven't, this might be what puts you over the edge to rent that instead of heading out to see Minions, the Rise of Gru. Because if you don't have kids under the age of 11 and you're going to see Minions, we need to do an intervention with you because there has to be something else you could be doing.
You want to know what kills me? Is that
the fact that there's been 4 Despicable Me movies?
At my theater, we're selling Minions tins, popcorn tins, and cups.
Yeah.
And watching full-grown adults without children purchase them is painful for me. And it makes me sad.
They're excited. They're going to sell them on eBay.
Yeah.
They're going to sell them on eBay.
The worthless Minion tin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's rough.
I think it's safe to say for next week, we may or may not see a British film in the theaters. We're going to scan all of the
streaming
services. Maybe see Cha Cha Keeps Her Groove or whatever that is.
Cha Cha Real Smooth,
or maybe see what's flying out there on Prime or Netflix and see what's just dropped, and talk to you about network here at the PGN podcast. Jackson, hopefully at this time next week, you will be driving a brand new used car.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. Before we log out, I have one more thing I want to mention.
Yeah, well,
I'm having.
Wait a minute, please, by all means, plug your other podcast.
That's not what I'm gonna do.
Really?
I just want to say I'm having a very David Lynch weekend.
Oh, that's right. You're going today to see something.
Going up to Hollywood today to go see. They're doing a 4K restoration screening of his film Lost Highway, which I'm super excited for. I'm still working my way through the last season of Twin Peaks. I got done with the first 2 seasons in the movie. Fantastic. Season 3, I will admit, started really badly, but things are turning up a lot, and I'm excited to see where this is going to go. It started off really bad, but once you get to episode 8, it gets crazy.
God.
That's all I'm going to say.
Would you let me know when the geek segment of our podcast is over?
I just had to say,
is that the end of Nerd Corner, or are we?
It's not. I just had to say one more thing.
Okay, here we go.
Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me, the grandson dance, one of the best scenes of all time. It's so aesthetically pleasing. Score is perfect. Love it. Look into it. Watch it. Enjoy it. Don't listen to him. I don't know what side of me you're on right now on the screen. I'm going to point both ways. He's a hater. He's going to be like, oh, I don't get Twin Peaks. Me either, but I love it.
Are you done jerking off David Lynch right now? Or are we,
yeah. I'm
like
done. I'm done with my David Lynch.
If he's at the screening today of Lost Highway, are you gonna literally walk up on stage and just manipulate him right there in front of everybody? David, I'm here. What do you want me to do?
Yeah, what's
and
up?
By the way,
if David,
he wouldn't stop you.
Yeah, if David Lynch would be there, I would love to see him talk. But great filmmaker.
Listen,
Lynch.
I told you I love Blue Velvet and I love Wild at Heart, and that's it. I
really need to rewatch Blue Velvet because I really got to rewatch that.
You should probably watch Wild at Heart too, because it's one of Nicolas Cage's most Nicolas Cage roles. It's like
Really?
it's Nicolas
That's
Cage
funny.
like
To a T.
turned up before that film that was so disappointing we saw this year where he was playing himself. It was like that was like when you go Nicolas Cage over the top. That's Nicolas Cage, and Laura Dern's fantastic in that as well.
Laura Dern's awesome.
She's just so she's hot as hell on this.
I've got all of his films on my list. I still got to make my way through. I've seen I've seen most of Twin Peaks. I've seen Blue Velvet. I've seen Eraserhead, and that's it. I haven't seen any of the really big ones. I guess I haven't.
You
seen,
saw Mulholland Drive, right?
No, never saw Mulholland Drive.
It's not that good.
On the list.
Yep, and you're gonna hate. You're gonna hate Lost Highway.
You keep saying that. You said the same thing about Twin Peaks. I think that you hate Lost Highway.
Okay, remember how much you said you hated how Baz Luhrmann today got in the way of the acting today in the story.
Okay, but that's different because Elvis was a real person.
But listen,
this is his baby.
Okay, when you watch Lost Highway today, you be honest, and at some point,
okay,
at some point, you're gonna go. You know what? The director is getting in the way of the story. And by the way,
he wrote it. He wrote them. How could he get in the way of the story? He wrote the movie.
Well, and by the way, if you can figure out what that story is, let me know.
I will. I'm gonna have a full review up and ready next week, and I'm gonna go in with an open mind. I love David Lynch, but I will. I mean, look, he's done some things. The first 7 episodes of Twin Peaks season 3 freaking sucked. Yeah. I have the ability to be critical of his work, and I will go with an open mind.
No, well. He's no Enter the Void. Hey, this is the PGN podcast. Parental Guidance.
True, that's a great movie.
Is neglected. I, of course, am always Regan Burns. You can follow me on Instagram at Regan.Burns. Follow Jackson over at, what's your Insta handle there?
Jackson N. Burns.
Jackson N. Burns. I mean, you can search either one of us. You find it. If you search me, I'm the good-looking one. And if you search Jackson, his is the one with the profile picture of him and David Lynch kissing on a beach.
Yeah, and that's real. I did not Photoshop that. That's a real image.
That's a real image that he took. Love you, buddy.
Love you too.
All right, kiddos. See you next time. Bye.